Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. This is going to be my June planner update, and I might sound a little different and awkward because I have a friend staying with me and I am not used to having someone here while I'm filming, so I am a little bit camera shy at the moment. As you can see, I have quite a bit to go over. First up, I have my reading journal, and I think I had a pretty decent reading month. Let's see. So in the month of June, I finished 2 books, and they're by the same author. The first book is The Vet's Daughter, and I enjoyed the story so much. The ink that I used is Kobe City Museum Gray, and it is like a really pretty, warm, brownish gray. I'm really tempted to get a full bottle of this one. So I enjoyed this book so much that I decided to jump straight into another book by the same author, and this is Our Spoons Came From. This is a little bit embarrassing, but I have a very hard time saying this word. Woolworth. Okay, I'm gonna stop. I don't know if what I have counts as a lisp, but I just, for some reason, have a very hard time saying this word. For this writing, I used my Esterbrook Esti and also this sample of ᴘᴏᴅᴜᴜ number 7 Hisoku. It's a really pretty seafoam turquoisey blue. I feel like this doesn't really do the ink justice because, as you can see, I noted here, I accidentally spilled water on the nib of my pen, a little bit on the actual page as well. And so, like, I think starting here, you can see a little bit of smudging, and for some reason, like, the ink kind of got diluted on the nib, and then it came out really light, but then it went back to normal down here. So yeah, that's why it kind of looks a little bit patchy and inconsistent. And I'm also guessing that's why the writing on the back kind of seeped into this page. But yeah, anyways, I also really enjoyed this one. And then I felt like that was a little bit too much fiction because I usually like to read a nonfiction and a fiction book at the same time. So I decided to pick up another nonfiction book. This is called Infinite Powers, and it is a book about calculus and some of the history. This is definitely like aimed at the general public and people who probably aren't studying math, so I find it to be really accessible and interesting, and I'm definitely not good or talented at math, but I could still follow all of the explanations and such. But yeah, as you can see, I got to draw some really fun diagrams here because a lot of it had to do with geometry for like most of my reading journal, I guess apart from this thing. There's not many diagrams, so whenever I do get to draw something, it makes me really excited. And the main ink that I'm using, it looks almost black, but it is Robert Oster Murky Pond Water. Anyways, I have this spread and then a little bit of this page. I think this was part of my previous video, which was like a day in my journals. So this was the 3rd book that I was reading, and then I am currently still reading An Immense World, just reading a little bit at a time. I actually don't remember where I left off. I think maybe somewhere here. This is chapter 5, 6, and then I'm currently reading chapter 7. Oh, actually, that's a lie. I'm reading chapter 8. I just haven't finished the entry for chapter 7, and I believe there are 12 chapters, so I am definitely gonna run out of space. I think what I'll do is just skip ahead maybe this page and continue on, and then on the original page I'm just gonna draw an arrow to indicate that I need to like flip forward to see the rest of the entries. So yeah, that is everything in my reading journal. It's very rare for me to finish 2 books in a month and also make decent progress in 2 other books, so I'm actually quite pleased about that. And I'm also quite pleased that it seems like I'm nearing the end of my reading journal. I think I'm definitely over halfway there, so hopefully I actually get to start a new reading journal maybe in 2027. That'll be really exciting. Next up is my Commonplace journal, and I also think I made a decent number of entries, probably like 2 or 3 as usual. So I think last time I left off at these notes about caffeine, and I ended up skipping a page for some reason. So I have to go back and fill that up with something. I definitely don't want to waste it. And then, oh, I guess I wanted to skip this page because I wanted to do a mind map and not really constrain myself to a single page. So yeah. Anyways, these were some summer workshop brainstorm notes. I'm going to be teaching a workshop at Atlas Stationers this summer, so I just wanted to kind of make a flow chart of things that I wanted to cover. And I think my hands were very sweaty, so this part of the page turned moist, and that is why the arrow is like feathering so badly. Wonderful thing to think about. So as you can see, instead of keeping the workshop notes on one page, I extended it onto the next page, but that left some awkward space on the right page, so I just filled out the space with some notes about mushrooms, basically just about the different mushrooms that you can typically find at a grocery store. And just for fun, I made some cute little mushroom doodles. Alright, this entry is about balance in graphic design, and as you can see, I'm really liking this like seafoam turquoise color. Again, this is this one, Hisoku. So yes, I talked a little bit about this in my previous video, but basically I've gotten some questions recently from people asking me to make a video about how I kind of space things for my journal layouts and stuff like that. And a lot of it is just like split-second decisions that I make, and it's kind of just like my intuition. So it's very hard to like explain that. I never officially studied art or graphic design, so I don't really have like some of the I guess jargon or terminology that I can use to explain why I do certain things. So yeah, I want to personally learn a little bit more, and hopefully I can use that to better communicate things that I want to teach others. These notes aren't so fun. This is about the small parcel levy, and I just wanted to get a definite guide for myself to make sure I understand what is going on. So yeah, sometimes I get to write about fun things like graphic design and mushroom varieties, but other times I write about taxes. Next up, I'm going to talk about my Rhodia notepad, which is basically my on-the-go sketchbook. So I am not finished this notebook. As you can see, I have maybe like 9 pages left or something, but I think I'm gonna move on to a different sketchbook now because I don't think this is like intended to be very usable towards the end. I'll show you what I mean. Like, for example, if I want to doodle on this page, it does not lay flat, and it is very hard for me to draw on the spine. I do use my brass clip, but it's like barely hanging on there. So yeah, I find that it's getting to a point where I kind of dread pulling this out and doodling in it, just because it is so annoying to use with the spine. So yes, I am on the market for another pocket sketchbook that is fountain pen friendly. I have my eye on a few, but if you have any recommendations, I would love to know. But yeah, here are a few pages that I did last month. And I don't know, if you're interested in like a full flip through, do let me know. I think that'll be kind of fun. This is a sneak peek of a new collection that I'm working on. Forgot My Meds, which is inspired by some true events. This was me brainstorming for the July order freebie. And yeah, lots of fun gems and ideas that maybe when I do a flip through, I will rediscover some ideas that I kind of forgot about, and I can revisit those. But yeah, I just wanted to quickly talk about that. Next up is my Hobonichi Weeks, which is my health and fitness record keeper. I feel like I say this every time I bring out my Hobonichi Weeks. But yeah, this is my workout tracker. As you can see, I haven't filled out the past few days. I'm filming this a few days earlier than the last day of the month because I am going on a trip in a few days, and I want to be able to edit and upload this video for Sunday. So yeah, I just have my May update over there. And then I drew a bar over here from July 2nd to the 5th to indicate that I will be away and I probably won't be able to work out and get as many steps. All right, let's move into the weekly section. I was definitely a little bit more inconsistent with my Hobonichi Weeks this month, partially because I was also a little bit inconsistent with my workouts, so they kind of like connect in that way. But yeah, for this week I used my Mont Blanc 149 curved calligraphy nib and also Diamine the Great Wall of China ink, and I basically just used that for all of the doodles and lettering, kind of like a monochromatic theme. This theme matches one of the spreads in my Hobonichi Cousin. On Friday I put down this like eye rolling emoji because at the gym I was doing RDLs and I scratched my knee in the same spot that I punctured like 2 weeks ago. So yeah, that was kind of annoying. This is another matching spread with my Hobonichi Cousin, and it's basically like a no sticker and washi spread apart from the tiny icons. I basically just wanted to show a way to add decorations just with markers, very simply. This is this current week. It is a nautical theme. I love the little nautical theme Days of the Week doodles. And this also matches one of my spreads in the Hobonichi Cousin. Oh, and this is also the number 7 Hisoku ink. I've said this before, I don't usually like to use fountain pens in my Hobonichi Weeks. Something about the paper and the smaller space just makes things look super cramped for me. Maybe I don't have like a fine enough fountain pen or something, but yeah, I wanted to give it another try and I thought this ink color matched pretty well, so yeah. That is everything for my Hobonichi Weeks. Next up I have my Hobonichi Cousin, and I actually didn't do my monthly spread in full. I think as you can see, some of the labels are empty, and I also didn't fill in my usual like currently reading section. Yeah, I don't know, June was just really busy, so I guess I didn't have as much time at the beginning to plan everything out, which is a shame because I really like the June theme and I was looking forward to it. So yeah, I think maybe if I have time this weekend I will finish off this spread kind of retroactively, but I am still very excited for July. This is probably one of my top 3 themes of the 2026 collection, so I'm definitely looking forward to filling this out. All right, let's move on to the weekly section. I don't know, do I sound weird or awkward? I'm again really not used to filming with someone in the house, so I feel like I'm sounding a little quieter and more awkward. Anyways, for the first week of June, I did a rainbow spread and I thought this was really fun. I basically just took a bunch of washi tapes from my collection and I ripped them up and layered them on top of each other. Some of them are kind of like at an angle, and with all of the layering I feel like this forms a pretty nice gradient. So yeah, I think this is a really fun idea, and you can even do like monochromatic things, like for example going from light blue all the way to dark blue just by kind of layering different shades of blue. This was a really exciting week because we hosted the June pre-order starting on June 6th, and yeah, I was really proud because I worked hard on the designs since like January, so it was really nice to see everything come together. Sunday I wasn't having a very good morning, but in the afternoon I got to meet Gerbier. She's my new assistant, and although it's a remote position, she was coming to our office to pick up her order, and also I wanted to give her a little tour of the office, so that was really fun. This was one of the spreads that matched with my Hobonichi Weeks. I forgot the name of the sticker set. I think it had something to do with like cooking or something, but I thought the colors were really fun, especially with the bright red tomatoes. I don't really work with red in my spreads, so whenever I do I feel like it's a little bit jarring, but it actually matches like the Sunday red box pretty well. Anyways, I don't think I have anything notable to say. The pre-order was still going on at this time. And then this was the other matching spread. I think I did an entire plan with me on this, but again, this was me kind of challenging myself to do an almost no stickers and no washi spread. The exception that I made were for the tiny icons because I didn't want to draw like 5 million pencils and laptops. These two are actually sticky notes, and I just used tape runner to fully adhere them to the page. And yeah, I think this turned out really fun. I guess a few notable doodles are the apple, the plum, this pill bottle, book, shopping bag. This is my depiction of wind because my dad got me an air purifier to see if that might help with my skin condition. As you can see, I really went nuts with colors with the spread, and I think it turned out really fun. This is an unfinished spread. This one is also matching with my Hobonichi Weeks. It is my nautical spread. I also did the fun days of the week doodles over here. And yeah, my friend came on Tuesday. They are staying the rest of the week and through July 2nd, and then on July 2nd I will be flying to Chicago with them. So yeah, these 3 days have been really busy, but in a good way. Like we, tried out new cafes, played a lot of games, stuff like that. I guess the most notable thing for Sunday was that we watched the World Cup game, and Canada is advancing to the next round, which was very exciting. And yeah, this is this current week. It is a city theme, and I just used a bunch of different gray markers and I drew little bricks at the top, and I think it looks pretty cool. I really like this city theme, but I feel like it's a little kind of muted and dark for summer. But yeah, I still like it. Moving on to the daily section. Never mind, my mouth is getting a little bit dry, so I think I'll continue filming this in a little bit. Alright, hello again. It is the next day. Let's finish off this video. So you might recall from the end of May, I was growing some microgreens. That's why I doodled these like little sprouts at the bottom. And so this was day 4 of my microgreens. I think in the month of June, I was really into writing my journal entries with my fountain pens, inked up with different colors. You will probably notice that throughout all of my daily spreads. And here I wrote toggling because my friend introduced me to this platform called Toggle. And basically you kind of start a timer and get a bunch of stuff done. And it's basically like a productivity accountability platform. And so it kind of became a thing where whenever like I would ask them what they're doing and they were getting some work done, they'll just say like, I'm toggling at the moment. So yeah, this was a really productive design day. So that is why I lettered toggling there. Another busy day, mostly because of some design work for the 2027 collection. Usually around June, I start panicking a little bit because June is like the midway point. It's actually worse because the next year's collection, so 2027, it's not being released in December, rather probably around September or October at the latest. So yeah, I have much less time than I thought. So I kind of did like a sprint on the 2027 collection. I drew this screaming emoji because it was super hot, my stomach hurt, and the design progress was really slow. For Wednesday, I wrote this in the Kobe City Museum gray ink, and I finally went to Linden Drugs at the mall to take my passport renewal photo. I have been meaning to do so for the past few months, and I just realized that because I need to go to Atlas Stationers in August, I really need to get that done. I think there's a certain period before the passport expiry that you can't travel with an almost expired passport. Not too sure if that's accurate, but yeah, I finally got that done. And this is me screaming at myself that I must go take my photo. And then as a little treat for literally like doing something that I should have done months ago, I stopped by Aritzia. They were having a clientele sale, and I actually didn't end up buying much from the sale. I just felt like I didn't really need anything. And the third was apparently egg day, which kind of passed by me. I really love eggs. As a little fun guessing game, feel free to comment down below your guess on the highest number of hard-boiled eggs I ate in a single day. I will maybe confirm the answer in July's planner update or something. So yeah, to specify, it's hard-boiled eggs. Anyways, moving on. As you can see, I have another one of these like cut up spreads. This is when I finished reading The Vet's Daughter and I gave it 5 stars. This evening I had a video call with my sister just to kind of catch up on things, and here I wrote feeling lost. These two things were connected. I just had a pretty emotional talk with my sister, and I basically don't know what I'm gonna do with the rest of my life. So yeah, there's that. Friday and Saturday were really busy days because Friday I was preparing for the start of the pre-order. Instead of doing like a to-do list, I just did a list of main big priorities and wrote a bunch of entries throughout the day. And then for Saturday, again, this was the start of the pre-order, so I also didn't have really a to-do list. To kind of calm myself down, I kind of had a relaxing morning where I started off by waking up early and making pour-over coffee, going over emails. Then I went to the gym for leg day, showered, did my makeup. I also did some sketching in my sketchbook, and then I double-checked everything. At the end of the first day, these were the top 3 selling designs. And it's actually interesting because I think this is the first time, at least in recent years, where the first 3 bestsellers on the first day, they weren't the best 3 sellers by the end of the pre-order. And it is, however, pretty similar. Basically, the Reading and Resting 2.0, that was number 1, and then Museum Musings was number 2. And I was really surprised because Reading and Resting is a revamped version of a previous design, so that's why it's 2.0. And usually reworked designs, they don't become bestsellers, so I don't know, that says something. I guess a lot of people like book related washi tapes, so I would definitely have to make more of those. Oh, and as you can see, I put the dates at the top, kind of like a tab, and I really like this ripped edge look. Anyways, after the first day, it honestly becomes a bit busier for me. On the launch day, it is definitely busy because I am ensuring that everything's going well and also replying to the influx of emails and all of the comments on social media. But for the rest of the pre-order period, what I am busy with is like arranging the pre-orders with all of the manufacturers, arranging stuff with the retailers, and also like forecasting the sales based on past years. A little secret is that I don't actually start production of the pre-order products after the pre-order ends. I actually start production a few days after the first day of the pre-order, and then I just use data from past years to guess how much we're gonna sell on the last few days. And I do that because it gives us a few days of head start on production, and even though it is just a few days, it really helps with like building kind of a cushion in case something goes wrong during production, something goes wrong during shipping, and just in general, pre-orders are already a very long wait for customers. So if I can shorten that by a few days, then that is wonderful. All right, Sunday, this is when my assistant Gerbier came to visit the office, and I also packed some orders, so I stole one of the order packing stickers. I am trying my best to go back to my previous schedule where I go to the office every Sunday to package some orders. All right, Monday and Tuesday, I honestly don't really like this spread. We have this like purplish orchid color with like pink and red. I don't really know what this theme is. I bought some nail polishes. If you can't tell by how chipped and sloppy my nails are, I have gone back to painting my own nails just with regular nail polish. It is definitely more annoying because it chips more and I do a pretty sloppy job. Apart from the cost of getting my nails done, I did find that my nails were becoming really weak and brittle, and I also couldn't really find the time to go to a salon. I think like the 1 hour-ish that it takes to do the nails, that is fine, but with the transit time of going to and back from the salon, as well as like sometimes even though I make an appointment, they don't always start at that time. So yeah, I just found that I couldn't really afford the time to keep going to salons every few weeks. So yeah, anyways, I was really excited because I got some new nail polish colors. My sister got me a gooseneck kettle, which has been really handy for my pour-overs. And then I started my ink journal on this day, which was really exciting. For some reason, my Hobonichi paper just like bled really terribly in this specific area. It was so bad. I don't know if I can even, you can kind of get a peek over here. But yeah, it was so bad that I just covered it up with a sticky note. My Hobonichi has been pretty great the entire year, but I just, for some reason, had this like one area where it was bleeding super badly. As you can see over here, that was from the flower drawings. Usually, it definitely doesn't do that. On Wednesday, I went to send some payments at the bank, and it was Herbs and Spices Day. Instead of drawing like the usual little hearts, I drew little sprouts. And I think that turned out really cute. I also drew this emoji saying rude because the bank teller on this day was just not very nice. I feel like usually I'm pretty like understanding of other people, and like you don't always have to be in the best mood, but this like particular bank teller was like rolling their eyes and kind of making exasperated sounds whenever like I pointed out a typo or something. Yeah, that kind of made me feel not so great, but that's okay. Thursday, I continued on with my ink journal. I just cut up a bunch of the little pamphlets from Leuchtturm and stuck it on here. I spilled my cereal all over my carpet and chair. That was not very nice. Here I made a little flap, and underneath I wrote down some private thoughts that I didn't want to broadcast on social media. This was the end of the pre-order. Recently, I've been changing like the end of sales from midnight to 9 p.m. because I just like realized it was so unnecessary for me to like stay up until midnight to end sales. Yeah, sometimes I have to really recognize that I make my own life more difficult than it should be. So yeah, that's why it kind of ends at an awkward time. Oh, I just noticed, going back to Friday, I wrote good afternoon, I'm so sleepy, that's it. I think I wanted to like write an entry, but then I just realized after writing good afternoon that I was too tired. So this is my 3 partial sentence entry. Sunday, I think I had a pretty decent day. I wrote some notes, did my nails, read my book, made dinner, and did a long run. By contrast, on Monday, I stamped on this search bar emoji and I wrote searching for my will to live. Oh yeah, I was already not having a very good Monday morning, but then at like around 10 a.m., the power just randomly went out. I think I talked about this in one of my Plan With Me videos. So yeah, I ended up doing a lot of work at a local cafe that still had power. And even though I got work done, it just wasn't the same as what I would normally do at home. So I was really anxious on this day. On this day, I apparently felt uncomfortable for some reason. And I booked my tickets to Chicago. I made a bunch of like wonky shape blobs, and then I doodled some icons on top. So again, my dad got me an air purifier for seeing if that helps with my skin condition. The workshop tickets at Alice Stationers went on sale. I went to TNT, and then my friend and I played some board games. This was another design marathon day, and yeah, I've just been working really hard on the 2027 collection, so this day's to-do list was really short because that's basically what I did the entire day. On this day, my wrist started hurting, which was not very nice. I couldn't really write or draw or actually like scroll on the laptop. It is a lot better now, and I'm trying my best to be mindful not to overwork my wrist. This was another weird day, so instead of doing a to-do list, I just wrote entries throughout the day using different fountain pens. Sunday was Father's Day, and we had dinner at my parents' house. I got my new Brita filter, which I was really excited about because it was like a lavender color. I thought that was just so much more fun than black or white. And then here I drew an emoji saying, "You a big boy," because when I went to my parents' house for Father's Day dinner, my 2.5-year-old nephew kept calling me a big boy, which was very humbling. And then this is this current week where I once again trimmed my pages and added little tabs to the side. I promise I will be filming a full video about how to make these tabs. I myself am still experimenting with this. This is like, I think the second time that I've done this, and every time I make little improvements and modifications. So I kind of want to perfect it myself before I share instructions. Anyways, this is again a nautical theme, and I love this emoji that's like drowning. That's what I feel like most days. So the reason why I cut these pages was my friend is again staying over, and I will be going on a trip in a few days. So in general, I probably don't have as much time to write. I put down this little wagon sticker. We did some crossword puzzles, which I didn't finish my doodle of that. We went to a new cafe, so I just trimmed off like half of the receipt and pasted it in here. This was new release day, and I was really excited because I finally obtained an IOSS code, so we can now charge taxes to the EU at checkout. It's kind of funny to be excited that I can collect taxes, but it really is a good thing because it speeds up customs processing, and I think customers in the EU also save like several euros of like a service and handling fee. Anyways, on Saturday I went to a fountain pen meetup with my friends Sheila, Linda, and Corolla, and I tipped in this page because I knew that I would be swatching a lot of pens. This was our first time meeting up since February, so yeah, I knew that we had a lot to catch up on. I put down this like craft paper bag to write down my to-do list, and on this day we watched the Canada versus South Africa game. And yeah, that is basically it for June. Again, I'm filming this a couple of days earlier so that I can get it up in time for Sunday. But I will quickly go over the last few pages of my Hobonichi Cousin. So I think in my previous few update videos, I didn't make any entries to this timeline page. And honestly, it was just like procrastination. So yeah, this month I finally caught up. Starting with January, our fountain pen was featured in an article, ended the bean card program, celebrated 10 years of this business, went to the Chicago Pen Show, our annual washi stamp and pouch pre-order, and then this is when I got the IOSS code. So yeah, hopefully I have more fun things to add for the rest of the year. Unfortunately, I don't think I finished anything in the month of June. I believe I already talked about Phil's coffee, so yeah, that is that. I did add an entry to the things I forgot about section. I doodled a container of Old Bay seasoning. Basically, I have a pumpkin spice seasoning that's in like the exact same container style, and I meant to add that to my oatmeal, but I accidentally added Old Bay, so that was not great. This is an update to my planner weight tracker, growing pretty steadily. Yeah, I think that's it. I don't know if I had anything interesting to share in this update, but I do like some of the fun crafty bits that I managed to do. I hope you have a wonderful July ahead and a wonderful latter half of 2026. Take care and goodbye.